Hello! If this outfit looks familiar, it's because I'm filming this in parallel with the one where I'm working on the light buckets on the back of the car. But while I'm waiting for the filler to dry in the cold, I figured I'd get my BMS sorted, which sounds like I have high expectations of achieving a lot in a short amount of time. Actually, I think I've done the work already. We shall see. So let me fill you in a little bit. Forgive the noises from the 3D printer. This is my test bench. And as you can see, I've got 5 BMW modules just like I've got in the car on here. These are the ones that I ran down in my accidental range test. And I now have over here a cheap balance charger to try and restore them. Not had a chance to do that yet because of all sorts of delivery issues with that charger. But what I've also been doing is working on my BMS, which is actually upstairs now. The Spaceballs BMS, running a version of the Simp BMS code. I was having an issue, and it's true on the car as well as here, that when the BMS wakes up and feeds 5 volts to all of the BMW CSCs that are on the end of these modules, only one of them wakes up. It registers 16 cells, so one module, and doesn't register the rest until you hit the debug button. And trying to diagnose this, I thought, well, maybe it's a wiring issue. Checked the resistance on the... Sorry, printer sounding weird. Checked the resistance on the wiring, and of course there's only 120 ohms, which is on the BMS side. There's nothing on any of these. And I figured it must have had an extra terminating resistor on the master unit, so I tried sticking an extra terminating resistor on. Since I did that, these things have refused to communicate. I've had them apart, I've checked they're getting voltage, I've checked continuity with the cabling, right back to the chips on the CAN chips on the BMS, and absolutely nothing. Somehow, and nobody seems to have managed this before other than by putting 12 volts through them where they should get 5 volts, these all seem to have died, or they've sort of gone to sleep and won't wake up. I haven't worked out the answer to this yet. I will keep pressing, and I will get a scope on them at some point and see if they're actually doing anything. But in the meantime, I decided to take a software approach to solving the problem instead. You might call it a bodge, you might call it a solution. Here you can see my very messy desktop, and on my desktop right now is this slightly tweaked version of the BMS. And specifically here is the error message I get when it can't count all of the modules, module missing, understandably. So what I've added is this little loop here where it will try 3 times to give the same command as the debug option does, which is basically redo the cell count. If it doesn't find the right number of cells after that, it will then go into error mode, but at least it should give it a couple of options. I am no coder. We will see if this works. Well, that almost worked. The error moved to a different part of the code, as I'll show you now. So instead of the module missing error that we got before, we got this series cell fault error. Exactly the same problem. It's now because it still counts 16 cells rather than recognising a module missing. So I know this is all a bit bodgy, but I think we probably need the same little loop there so that it can make sure that there's a series cell fault before it gets grumpy. Well, the BMS and the gauge are now working. Let me just show you what happens at startup, because this tells you that the BMS is going through a bit of a cycle. Turn things off, turn things on. A few seconds for the gauge to wake up. So it goes into error state first of all, and then once it finally gets its full module count, boom! we get 50% charge. It's 4 degrees and it blooming well feels like it. And 28, 29 millivolt min to max delta on the cells, which I'm perfectly happy with. And then if we turn the DC to DC on, I usually get a little bit of a, like we got a 1% sag last time I did that, but then it came back up again. But yeah, functional, if not perfect. It's certainly better than what I had before. A little bit of tinkering later, I've learned the answer. It clearly needed a longer delay. So I stuck a bit of code into the debug so that it would count every time it cycled through doing the count check. And look, it's literally gone 16 on the first count, 32 on the second, 48, 64, 80. So I put in a half-second delay on each one. I'll experiment with increasing that delay, but we've now got to the point where it is counting all of the cells present, which is fantastic. So I've done the right thing, even if it is a bodge. I think I can cut down the number of loops, so to 3, increase the delay, and then with a bit of luck we will get to a count every time, and I don't have to muck around with the wiring and destroy any more CSCs. Quick wrapping up video because I forgot to do that the other day. Look, this is a bodge. There are lots of reasons why this might be going wrong. It could be issues on the CANbus, it could be hardware or software. You know, the right thing to do is to chase those issues down, and I will, probably when I can get some help. But for now, it is functional. I don't think it's dangerous in any way. It is still erroring out once it's checked a few times that it really can't count all the modules, and it seems to be functioning okay. So I'm going to leave it at that for now. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this one. It may be useful to somebody else who's experiencing the same weird issues with their CSCs, although everybody else's just seem to work, so it may be, you know, it's almost certainly something stupid that I've done. Anyway, thanks for watching. Please do like and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye bye.